It wouldn't be a new version of iOS without talking about privacy enhancements. And I think privacy and security are so close nowadays. There are a lot of things that are kind of like, well, that's kind of security, that's kind of privacy. But I think it's really easy to break up these feature enhancements or these privacy enhancements into two categories. And I'm going to say that they go into things that might break your app and things that will improve your app. What do I mean by things that might break your app? I'm talking about things that might change the way users trust your app. They might change the way functionality works from within your app. An example are notifications when certain functionalities are in use, like camera and mic and clipboard. The one that really comes to mind is clipboard. If your application programmatically accesses the clipboard without users' consent, that is maybe an issue. Maybe your app shouldn't be accessing the clipboard because that is a thing that might be violating privacy. It might be, an extraneous functionality. So now iOS is going to tell you, hey, there's a little notification on the screen. It'll say, oh, this app is accessing the clipboard. The clipboard is currently in access. Uh, and that is really something that only should be accessible by the user. If a user's copy pasting something, great, that's fine. If an app is doing it programmatically, it might constitute an issue. So if you're doing that today, you might want to remove that in your application. Another big change, the app transparency framework, the app tracking transparency framework. What this is it's a way for applications to tell users if they're sharing their users' data to a third party. This is a big change. I see this affecting a ton of apps, especially social media apps, where data gets shared across multiple networks and multiple organizations. So making users aware of that is awesome. From a business case, from an app development case, it really is going to change how your users might be trusting your app today. Because if you have that functionality built in, it could be a case where, oh, we have to reevaluate this. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is a bad idea. Be aware of that. There's also some functionalities for ad networks to kind of leverage this and do it in a way that's a little bit easier. SK Ad Network is a framework you should check out because it kind of works along with that, and definitely check it out. Another restriction is local network access. For those of you who aren't aware, some applications may be accessing the local network around you. I'm talking about your Wi-Fi router, your television, your smart toaster, whatever. And why they might be accessing that might be for different business cases. But the change that really affects things is the fact that, hey, what if a third-party app is accessing that data to learn about you as a user, where you are, or to kind of profile you, to determine who you might be? That could be really a extraneous functionality, if you will. So there are more restrictions around that, and those are things that you're going to have to tell users, hey, be aware you're doing that. Be aware, this is why I need to do this for this business case, and there will be purpose strings around that functionality. Another major change is photo picker. So if your application accesses photos for whatever reason, maybe a profile image or something else, now that's been kind of restricted. What's going to change is your user is going to have a choice of what pictures you have access to in your app. And when I say you, I mean your app. So that is going to change the functionality. There might be applications that really rely on accessing more photos. So you're going to have to dig into that PH Picker framework and kind of figure out how your app should be accessing data, in what cases it should, and kind of giving more explanation around what your app does and why it needs that data. Finally, location proximity. And I think this is actually really cool. This is like a soft feature update, which I think really does make things better. Basically, when your application accesses location, users are now going to be given the opportunity to not give you precise location, but rather an approximate location. So think of it this way. I'll give you an example because my sister was doing this recently. She was looking at apps that show her where new homes are available to actually go and visit and potentially just do a walk around. She didn't want to give it her exact location, but she wanted to give that her approximate location. And that's a really good use case of how location proximity might matter. Now, from a business case, from a security case, that does change maybe how data is observed on a sensitive data perspective. This is going to change how certain applications that actually do need that precise location are going to have to request it from users. And again, a lot of these features, all of them on this break side, are really about trust, establishing trust with your users and having them understand why they should trust your app. And if, a lot of that information really does come down to providing the user with the right information. So be aware of that. That really does matter.